Heart to heart, engines roar. Let's go. The show, AK on the rail, BJ in the mix, Bobby Joe going low, pushing for that spot. Monkey Man dives in, Viper holds lane, Lover Boy keeps the pace, Flash making the moves, Rusty keeps rolling, Pilot's on call, race control watching, keeping us all in line. Grip that wheel, hold your line, hear the crowd, feel the climb. Every lap we come alive, one more turn, we fly. Under our name, late break action, nobody gives. Potters on the radio, keep it clean. We hug that curve, sharp and mean. Dan the man laughs, take it wide. AK and BJ side by side. Bobby Joe cuts and Monkey Man moves hard. Viper stays cool, Lover Boy sets the lines. Flash brings heat, Rusty brings grit. Speed zone cameras catch every hit. Grip that wheel, hold your line. Hear the crowd, feel the climb. Every lap we come alive. One more turn, we thrive. Heart
Finding a local, experienced custom home builder and remodeling contractor is a challenge. Since March of 1993, with a commitment to change and improve the quality of workmanship in this trade, Andrew Lohmeyer has strived to build his company to be the best in Maryland and build not just customer contacts, but friendships. ALC Contractors is an award-winning custom home builder serving clients of Central Maryland. A custom home builder that works with you every step of the way, from the design process to the completed project. If you'd like to see examples of our custom homes up close, just ask and we can give you some references. Contact us today to learn more about our custom homes, green homes, home additions, garages, home theaters, and kitchen remodeling projects. We can turn your dreams into reality. Call us at 410-356-7300 for your free home additions remodeling quote. ALC Contractors.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back here live on a Speed Zone TV. And tonight we present to you Hard to Hard Motorsport IROC Series from the land of Bluegrass, Kentucky Speedway. Hi everyone, I am Christian Driver, the dead man with a hot mic in hand, and tonight I'm presenting to you here live on Speed Zone TV 21 of the top hitting best drivers right now of the IROC Series of Hard to Hard Motorsport, looking to claim the honors and get one step closer to the championship. Let's take a look at tonight's showcase and grading order, presented in part by our friends at Spa Auto Sales. On the pole, the number 11, it'll be Lane Powell. The outside in the 03 is Scott Cazanet. Row number 2 in the 71, Lucas Wright. The outside in the 95, Austin Cornpose. Row 3, the 02 is Bobby Lane Jr. The outside in the number 15 is Vincent Short. Row number 4, the 12, Dan Colas. And the outside in the 31, Andrew Lohmeyer. Row number 5, the 9, Alan Marr will be the outside. The 14, Frank Caruso. Row number 6, the 00, BJ Lane. The outside from Chile. And that 8, Ronald Robertson. Row number 7, the 5, Rusty Robinson is outside. In the number 33, that is going to be Jonathan Campbell. Row number 8, that will be the 20 of Benny Jones. The outside, the 91, Joe Flack. Row number 9, the 50 is Ryan Poderone. The outside, the 47 is Bud Light Mike. Row number 10, the 2 is William Martin. The outside, the 6-7 is William Yoakum. And your final C today, the number 13, Steve Harrison. Well, I hope you guys like that little intro style there I did. Get out of the basement, get up to the top steps, and show your place. It's time to go racing here in Hard to Hard Motorsport. Green flag, dropping them down here for some Kentucky Bluegrass racing. All right, now I got to get back to my normal voice and normal situation here. Let's get down to it with 100 laps to go. Down on the inside immediately, Lane Powell will take the early run. Scott Cazenave and Austin Cornpost immediately trying to get something figured out there as we got one down on the inside. That's Alan Marr. Yellow out already for the 9. Well, that did not go according to plan. We must now venture to the instant replay. Let's take a look at this one. This one is presented in part by our friends at Buchanan Resort. Marr goes up wide and looked like he didn't even get touched by the 31. I think he didn't even get touched by anyone. He just slipped up on his own there. He looked like me trying to get my new set of pedals and wheelbase set up. Thanks to the folks over at Sim Magic for sending that, by the way. But let's take a look at it from another angle here. Again, this sub 2 you're going to see a lot of here today, race fans, is right out of the gate, that turn 1 and 2 is going to be very speedy and very tricky, because the fact is, it basically opens up the lane to where you need to stay in the throttle and then jumping down off that corner. And right there, as you can see, when you're on cold tires, well, let's just say that the track doesn't exactly give an inch. The first caution will fall on the 9 of Marr. We'll have to see how that fares and shakes up here around these parts. Well, it is time for my daily ritual now, and to see all the fans that came on board. And man, you guys always just come in droves. I love it. Crazy Catfish has joined us today. Says, let's go Campbell. Joshua R6Q. He says, I bet this power guy takes the sneakers off. Bug Bandit Pest Control has got the rooting on for Campbell. Nikki Shore has joined us, giving a little love to old Vincent down there. Steffi Dobson going for, says, go Cast down there. Heart to Heart Streams joins us as well. Dream of Diamond says, I like turtles. Larry Powell has joined us as well. He says, ready to watch the Gulf in Gulf. Eat 'em up, 11. And Larry Powell saying, I like snakes. Well, I think that's probably two different animals there I would not want to deal with, really. Turtles and snakes. I don't think you should mix that up. It's Lambie joining us as well. It says, manifesting a win for Mr. Lane Powell this evening. And Megs28 also joining us here today. Says, 3311, got this. Get that bag. All right. And as Lambie says, the intro is goated. All right. Thank you, Lambie. Appreciate that. Literally, I started to do that intro and all that. There's a little breaking the fourth wall here, but my dogs jumped into the office room here, down up on the top of this place here. Yeah, I take my dogs everywhere I go. And literally, they were like, what are you doing? And try to jump on me and basically try to see if I'm still the same papa that is around here. So if you hear a little dog barking around here or something like that, just know that's just them trying to get my attention and make sure I'm still the right papa around here. Well, speaking of that, race fans, we're going to get them squared back up here. We're going to be on lap number 5 coming to the restart here. Lane Powell leading us down. Scott Cazenave, Austin Corn Post, Vincent Short, and Lucas Wright right now. The top 5 drivers. But as we've seen here plenty of times before, that can change on a dime. Can't get too cocky around here, and you can't get too comfortable. You've got to basically stay focused on that line and stay focused on your run. I think the biggest thing we're going to see today, though, is just how much control and power that a lot of these guys figure out coming around some of these sectors, around some of these corners, because, again, it's really going to be very tough to keep things under control in that dead heat of speed and have to slow down quickly entering in through turn 3 and 4. Again, it's not like Darlington where turn 1 and 2 you can keep the throttle rhythm going and only have to worry about that very tight end exit of turn 2. And then basically having to hit the brake pedal down in 3 and 4. No, this is going to be more of the best way I can put it. It's kind of like a mixture between the new Texas Motor Speedway and if you were running as well down in Charlotte Motor Speedway in turn number 1 and 2. That's the best way I can explain it. We're going to field them down in here, and also fun fact that both those tracks I just mentioned, including this Kentucky Speedway, both ran by SMI. Hop down on the front straightaway, back into the lane, and back to the green flag. Lane Powell again going to take the lead off here. Scott Cazenave getting passed up there by Austin Cornpost. As Cornpost is not wasting time. He wants to try and keep his points lead in check. Lane Powell last week absolutely putting the boots down on the track there at Watkins Glen. Now looking to keep the string going and keep it alive after that big win at Indy as well. The points couldn't be any closer between these two, and they know with only 3 races remaining after this one, that could change the series up, and that could change things up quite a bit as they look on from the back to the front. Every driver right now just trying to do what they can. Whoa, wait a minute, yellow down there, yellow, yellow, yellow. Looks like it might be trouble there for the 13 of Steve Harrison, as well as Bud Light Mike in the 47. Not sure what exactly transpired down there, but I think you fans know by now what we're going to do. It's time to go to the Pete's. It's time to go to the Speed Zone TV Instant Replay, brought to you by our friends at Buchanan Resort. Let's take a look at it here coming down. Oh! Well, I'm not sure if the 13 was getting word from a spotter that that 47 was there, but youch! That is, God, that was a hit. That was a nasty, nasty hit there, unfortunately, and that really just did a number on them. We'll have to take another look at it here, and Race Control has indeed deemed it on the 13. Here's a good look at it from this point of view. Now here, everything's good for Harrison. Look at, he's getting the draft. I think he thought he was clear, but Bud Light Mike all the way down there, and he thought, well, I must be okay. No one's going to hit me. He wasn't expecting the 13 of all things to just go straight down on him there. Oh my Lord. That is like the worst feeling as a driver is when you get into a comfortable spot and then the next thing you know, Lady Chaos decides to throw you the worst poker hand ever when the other player had a flush right to use on you. Ouch. Well, thankfully both drivers are okay inside the cockpit there. Probably a little bit more worse for wear though on the grips of those steering wheels, but nevertheless they are at least able to get into pit road, but that's going to cost some precious time here. So Harrison going to rejoin up there with Bud Light Mike. If I'm Harrison right now, I think I probably would stay about 6 feet further than usual around Bud Light Mike. And we need him in 2020 no more, kids. Dream of Diamond says hammered down, just not that much. Connor Webb says Lane, Ricky, Bobby Powell down there. Well, if you're going to shake and bake around these parts of town, you better be careful with old Austin Cornpost laying around. This field of drivers again today, man, they're going to be really trying to egg on and put the speeds to good use where they can. We have not been able to get a full stint of good green flag wraps in here, so I wonder in a lot of ways, does that change the dynamics of where these drivers are and where they even should be in and where they are going? That is a very tough question these drivers are going to need to kind of figure out here. Field doubled up once more here. We need to get 100 in. We are barely just at the lap 9 marker. You know, the thing is too, race fans, what surprises me is that all around this season, despite what we're seeing right now, we've absolutely seen some absolute banger racing from these drivers in terms of their control, their stability, and everything they brought to it. Now it seems as to though today that kind of whatever was lingering around at Talladega must have got into the system of these drivers, because it has been a disease of trouble right out of the gate. Hopefully they could get the medicine that they need to clean up that act of the part of the track, especially with how bad that what was at Talladega on the ending of that race. That's the only time you will hear me mention that today, is we're going to bring it right off of turn number 4. Hopefully things get a little bit better off the run here as they bring them down onto the front straightaway here once more and shoot them down to the green flag restart zone. Much, much better there. Everyone looking good out of the gate. And I say much better because Powell got a lot better of a run off there than Cornpost was thinking. And Scott Cazenave trying to make him pay for it as they work their way back onto the back straightaway. Vincent Short going up a little bit higher than the other drivers here. A lot of them going down to the bottom. Vincent deciding to opt towards the middle. There's 2 ways to take that lane on turn 3 and 4. You either go extremely low, or you go basically right in where about Short was in the middle, and yet in the middle sector of it. That can play into a big factor here, especially the way things currently hold out. The 00 BJ Lane in a bit of a mix-up here with Lucas Wright and Dan Collison, as he's mashing that gas pedal down, trying to get around with both of them here. But it seems as though at least out of the three, it is Lucas who is right in the midst of it. Dan Colson, though, on the bottom lane trying to shoot down his gap, trying to shoot his shot, but with right up on the top side, it's going to be a lot harder to make that clean-cut pass. He'll back it down, coming down off of turn number 2 and square it back up. Meanwhile, back up to the race lead. Lane Powell, the number 11 here, leading us down here. Not giving an inch to corn post so far. Everyone else here just kind of finding their tempo, finding the rhythm. But you got a good battle going on once more with, well, ironically enough, the two that we talked about probably the most last time out at Watkins Glen, because they were the ones that were side by side the most. Jonathan Campbell and Ronald Robertson, they're back at it once more. Robertson right now currently trying to keep Campbell at bay, but Campbell, well, let's just say he's not exactly in the mood to be giving anybody any inches today. You saw the number 31 of Andrew Lohmeyer get caught up there by Robertson, but Ronald wasn't able to make a clean cut pass, but looks like, as you can see him working down on that extreme bottom end of the track, maybe starting to kick some speed up. Running the red, white, and blue flags and colors today here for the 31. Gotta admit, it's a pretty solid little scheme there. We will not be live here on the 4th, but we will give you a quick happy Independence Day to everyone out there. We help you celebrate it safely and have fun celebrating 250 years of freedom. And speaking of that here, we're going to go 3 wide, swinging right off with turn number 1 and down through 2. They clear them up. Short, Lane, as well as Coulson, all in the mix here. As looked like one of them got into the wall protection there. I think that might have been Alan Marr in the 9. Couldn't quite get a good glimpse there of him there, or might be actually number 14 of Caruso. Wasn't sure which one exactly decided to take the high road and got up too close to the wall, but I do remember seeing a little bit of gray there. Caruso taking a bit of a different lane than some of the other drivers are now. Again, there's only, Campbell even takes a smack at that little wall there. The biggest thing I'll say right now is, again, there are 2 ways to run 1 and 2, but there's the big problem with 1 and 2. Compared to 3 and 4, the amount of tire shredding you get running that extreme outside lane now in 1 and 2 is a tremendous addition, because, again, the fact is you're running in at such a high frequency, high level of power, that once you basically shift up back off that turn, having to steer in more to it, the wheels on the right front will actually dig in more than they would being on the bottom, because on the bottom you got banking to where it can actually kind of relieve it and settle it back down. That is one thing that really makes a difference. It can make things extremely difficult in those case scenarios, as the field continues to work their way around the track here and do everything they can to try to catch up to the leaders. Austin Cornpost has got the draft lined up on Lane Powell and now seems to be kind of in steady Eddie control mode. Probably realized that, honestly, if he just stays in second place, or at the very least can stick with the race leader, he will have a fair shot at getting something dialed in around here. Still an onboard camera here from Scott Tazenay here. As you can see, Lucas Wright, BJ Lane having a little tussle. But it is Wright that's coming flying up on the backhand, the corner panel. Trying to give you a good shot there. All right, deep on the inside of Cazenay, but really couldn't even get one. He was either in my blind spot, or he was pretty much kind of just falling back or falling forward, or maybe he just didn't want to be on camera. Back straight away now, here comes Ronald Robertson, the number 8, the Pennzoil machine, getting to work here with Dan Colson right up ahead of him, as he's got company pushing and shoving his way up into that rear corner panel, the number 31 of Andrew Lohmeyer. It's Lampy said, Powell, stay on top. Well, easier said than done, I'll tell you that much for free. The hardest part, again, about just trying to stay in the lane and staying in the drive where you're at is, again, when you're literally having someone who's right behind you or someone who is as fast as you are, constantly on your doorstep or just trying to make sure you know they're there. It's like a feeling unlike any other. It really just does an absolute number on the driver's mentality, the psyche, and just keeping them right within the pace. Well, so far, Powell yet to relinquish the lead. He's led all 22 laps now so far. Let's take a look from our mid-pack madness cams to our back stack cams, looking to try to get back to the front stack. Ryan Perrone and Bud Light Mike have been at it for a little bit here, as well as William Martin, the number 2, represent the Georgia Bulldogs, I believe. At least I think that's the logo for the Georgia Bulldogs. If I'm wrong, feel free to have a go at me in the comments section, folks, but I do try to at least keep an eye on all the sponsors to make sure I don't mess up on some names. Perrone and Mike, again, Mike earlier on getting trapped up in that mix-hap there with the 13 of Steve Harrison, and Perrone just pretty much at this kind of point just staying well within reason of controlling his own sanity here. Doesn't want to make too many more mistakes or get himself into a bad spot. And I think, honestly, that's pretty commendable and pretty smart on his part, but I hate to say it, speed doesn't come from playing it safe around here. You got to be focused and on the edge of insanity to get these things dialed in and then be ready for what comes next, unless you're playing a strategy nobody thought of or nobody was planning to work with. Nice little shot there with Rusty Robinson, the number 5 machine. As you can see, the pack is stacked and racked here. It is mid-pack madness again. Frank Caruso up on the outside, having to deal with the 9 of Alan Marr, as well as that 5 of Robinson, pushing their way in. You open up that window, a thief in the night loves to sneak in and basically close the window behind it because they stole already what they wanted. And that's exactly what happened there. Can't give openings up like that right now, and Jonathan Campbell well aware of that. It's Robinson and Marr right behind him. Trying to find a bit of a tempo there here ahead of that Buchan Resort 5 machine. It's still kind of crazy to me that I'm seeing like Chevrolets and stuff out there, and yet they don't even make the Camaro no more. But yet they still just allow it to kind of go out there and race around these parts and times these days. Speaking of that too, that does remind me that this is what I've heard on the news outlets as of late, but it seems as though that next year they're supposed to release the Dodge car for the Cup Series. All I can say to iRacing is when that car comes out, you better be getting that thing on right away. But usually they have a pretty good track record of doing that, so I'll give them that. One thing is for sure, though, it'd be very interesting to see what Dodge could do in the Cup Series when they do come back around. Whether it is next year or 2 years from now, I would personally think 2 years would be better for them, but yeah, you know, honestly, when you want to try to make the money and do what you can, you might as well go for it while you got a shot. Ronald Robertson here, deep to the inside lane with Dan Colson. Dan still holding him down and keeping the momentum up. As Andrew Lohmeyer right now looks in between the window and the wall and just trying to see where he will not fall. Let's take a look at the lap times though still here, folks. The Delta time here is presented in part by our friends over at Allen T. Buick GMC. And you can see, again, lap 25, there was a lot less ground coverage for Colson that he had to worry about. He gained a 10 to 2 tenths on him, but then now you see how things quickly change on him. For this go, lap 28, he did not have to worry too much. Lap 29, he still has Robertson trying to push his lane up here. Actually, he's getting right up there with Short. I was wondering why all of a sudden his name changed there. Yes, indeed, he is running hard there with Short, just trying to get something figured out now. As Short You can see what he's having to deal with from Robertson as well as Lohmeyer back there. Now let's see what the time delta says here on lap number 31. Yeah, lap 30 here. Yep, there is a gain of ground. I did not mean to say 31. I meant 30 there. That was my apologies. It's a short, and Robertson going to have a hustle and a fight out coming down into turn 3. Robertson got the door slammed on him, though, a little bit. Kind of cut down that rear corner panel from the 15. Giving Lohmeyer a chance here to kind of fight back. Great racing here in the mid-pack. I've always said before, and I'll say it again, I don't always like to focus just on the race leaders unless things are absolutely going crazy down there, because at the end of the day, there's a race going on somewhere. Even if you're even a lap traffic car, you still have the leaders to worry about in terms of getting past and having the leaders even trying to get around you. There's always a race somewhere, and there is never a dull moment here that we ever want to see here on the Speed Zone TV racing series. Well, I probably will have a revolt if I don't put a little bit of Mr. Powell here into the dash cam right now. And again, he's just been so bad fast from this point and from down to the lanes here. You can see Corn Post again. He's trying his best to try to get something going and get dialed in. But again, every time it seems like he gets something figured out, you can see he either loses it and then gains it back, or then loses it again. And it ends up just hurting him more than anything. But again, I think he probably is playing into a different strategy here. He's probably trying to keep that car steady and more in the draft zone so he can kind of line up for that pass when the time comes. You got to think, those tires are going to wear out a lot, and they're going to be a lot more hard to handle and master the longer this race goes, which could play a factor in this on the side of them. Take a good look here at BJ Lane in the 00 now, as he has muscled his way around the number 12 with Dan Collison. And Collison again trying to build speed and beat back that draft. With these straightaways in that front stretch, a little bit more of a D-shaped configuration, it's really hard to really get that power down through the track and through the shots here again, because the fact is, well, it's actually more of a tri-oval design, I would say, because of that little kind of that dog leg here entering in. I know it's hard to see. I'll try to show you guys in a minute, but it's technically speaking, I believe, a tri-oval design, not a D-shaped configuration. But that because of that, you don't have as much run and room to get those draft zones up as much as you do like you would on the backstretch. So you only get one shot for the draft and one shot basically to kind of get more momentum entering into the turn. Now let's take a look right here. We'll go on board Ronald Robertson. Notice how it's D-shaped right here, but watch coming off turn and coming into turn 1. Look at that right there. There you see, there's the dog leg. It ends up kind of ripping up a little bit just like it would at Phoenix, and actually forces the drivers to have to make a choice. Either get back up off that yellow line or get yourself into a very tough spot. Otherwise, that flat spot can do some damage here. Whoa, speaking of doing damage, Coulson, he put the corner panel up on her. He nudged and shoved and wanted to make that run work. That was very, very tight racing, and definitely elbows up now. There ain't no messing around here. BJ Lane not wanting to give it up to him. Noah Toles has joined us as well here. Good to see you once more. Get it right on side by side. Oh! Contact right into turn number 3 and 4. BJ Lane getting a whole side panel of that blacked up number 12 and opening up the door for Ronald Robertson. Well, if I'm BJ right now, my first thought is, well, next time I see him, I'm not giving him an inch. That was a big, big hit on the corners. And again, it may not look like much, but again, when you're driving these things at the speeds you are at about 185 to 190 miles per hour, those hits do not feel good on those wheels or in the or on the pedals either. When you have a haptic feedback on them, those things absolutely will shake and rattle your system and your core up, and having to basically reset and reconquer is something that's extremely difficult. Austin Cornpost right now trying to dish out on the 11 again. He's just been trying to find something at this point. I don't know if he is really trying to stay in that draft anymore, or if he really wants to find a passing lane. Considering how hard he is running on that 11 right now, I gotta believe he's looking for a way to pass him. And again, you can see he's even running a different line here than Lane, so that tells me that he is full send right now. Something I kind of spaced out on a little bit here, but Bobby Lane Jr. in the 0-2. He's now made his way around Scott Cazenave, took it over the third spot. I don't really think I've been able to talk about Bobby Lane Jr. He's been kind of all over the place here in this position. So Bobby Lane Jr. in the third place position, still trying to keep Scott Cazenave down off his tail end here. And I tell you this, folks, that it is absolutely confusing sometimes when I see so many lanes and the fact that I have like literally, you know, last name, first name, and then I'm talking about the racing lanes. Like, I swear on my grave, I do not try to get this confusing as it is, but there's a lot of lanes on these circuits, no pun intended. Field right now just kind of getting themselves a little bit more on the controlled side here. Looking on from the background here, Alan Marr. Again, he qualified ninth today, and having that first little spin out there, got the damage fixed up pretty quickly as he drives what I'm going to call the Silver Bullet Jake's machine today. And he's trying to narrow down that gap on the number 31 here of Andrew Lohmeyer. But Lohmeyer, again, been very, very consistent, very, very careful not to get stepping on any more toes and get to back beach and banging around here too much after Dan Colson pretty much kind of took his lunch money and ran off from him. Busy Wizzy has joined us here, as now is Jake's Paradise as well. Great to have you all on board today. Currently, we'll focus on your boy here in a second, but right now the battle is raging on as you've got a mid-pack madness shootout yet again. Alan Marr trying to exercise those demons from the first wreck here, and even now Andrew Lohmeyer running them down into the ground and starting to push this thing up a few notches. He's cooking some speed up there, race fans, and he's absolutely not giving him an inch here. Very, very impressive so far with how they've handled themselves and how they continue to keep the controls underneath them. Marr and Lohmeyer able to make their way around the 00. And bringing it back up to the front right now, we'll continue to focus in on the two heavy hitters. Again, these are your points leaders, first and second place. Powell right now just a few points out of the top spot. Cornpost is the one who holds the keys to the palace. And if I'm not mistaken either, I think Cornpost's worst finish was honestly probably back at Dover Motor Speedway, if I had to remember right. And since then, he's pretty much been in that top 5 bracket, if not maybe top 3 for most of that time. The only reason that he's down right now is because Lane Powell has gone 2 for 2 and looking to go 3 for 3 in the last 2 to 3 races. Noah Sosa says, have Powell and Corn been battling from the start? I got in late. Yes, Noah, they have they've basically been battling from point A to point B. Well, let's take a look at our time delta gap once more, presented in part by our friends at ALC Contractors. This right now has been the show of shows. And I wanted to put up Lane as well here because I wanted to see if he was getting any speed or anything on Powell. And, well, yeah, you can kind of tell what's going on. That red is not good for Lane, but to Powell, that's like a godsend right there. Dylan Ender says, y'all going to have to put a boat anchor on Lane. That boy's got Lightning McQueen speed. I mean, he may have got Lightning McQueen speed, but right now he's going to need to figure out his pit strategy now because Austin Cornpost is in pit road. Alan Marr joins him. Frank Caruso's going in as well, so looks like all 4 tires and fuel coming up. Now will Lane go into pit road this time? That's going to be the big question. Cornpost was dead set on him and pretty close. This is going to be interesting here. Oh, he's slowing down. I heard that throttle rhythm. That's slowing down a bit. There he goes. Bobby Lane Jr., Scott Cazenave going to join him. Dan Collison not going to play with the pack. He stays out. Ooh, interesting strategy here. Lohmeyer, Vincent Short. They will remain out as well. So far, the only ones that have not gone to pit road yet is Steve Harrison, Joe Flack, Benny Jones, and William Yoakum. Campbell going in now. As the field will now have to figure things out here. Let's take a look at the pit side here. Like I said, all 4 tires are going on. Austin Cornpost already out of pit road. He's entering in through turn number 1 and 2. Needs to hurry down that back straightaway. Lane Powell is now on the charts. Bobby Lane Jr., Scott Cazenave also in the mix. Here comes Cornpost though. We'll stay on board with him as he's going to come flying up here on Lane Powell. Does Powell have enough time to get going? Cornpost deep on the outside. Needs to make that pass. Ooh, he's going to push that thing down low on the 11. Is he going to go for him? No! He backed it down. I heard that throttle rhythm slow up a bit. He didn't have time to get him. Now looking for the draft going down the front straightaway. I'm focusing in right now on this one because right now these 2 are the ones that have the shot in the dark to basically take this one to the run house. Okay, I have no idea what the run house is, but nevertheless here they want to go to victory lane is what I meant. And Cornpost and Powell dead even and side by side right now with each other. But Powell, oh, doctor, he just sent him the door panel through a piece of mail at him and said, read this. The letter says you will not pass today, good sir. Well, that's certainly right now going to be a bit of a troublesome spot for them. Steve Harrison, Benny Jones, William Yoakum, and Vincent Short. The only ones that have yet to go into pit road. I wonder if they're thinking maybe they catch a break here. Maybe catch a little bit of a shot in the dark here. Yoakum, though, he's gone to pit road. He couldn't stay out much longer. Short being your leader right now could play detrimental here, but here's the problem. He's got the other 2 boys literally flying up on him. His hopes of keeping them a lap down, going to be far-reaching, but it is going to play a factor here. Coming down on turn number 2, lap traffic going to be passing him up, but that could open the door for these 2 here. Cornpost trying to get down there, he just can't get it. Now beside there, the 91 of Joe Flack driving the Flash 91 machine. And just like a flash, they got past. Man, no one is safe right now from anything here. Steve Harrison, the 13, and Benny Jones in that 20. Just kind of doing their own thing. I think they were hoping for a bit of a break or a bit of a shot in the dark here. But again, they're not going to be on the lap ahead marker of the front runners here. And Vincent Short now going into pit road. Although I will give credit to the 13 of Harrison, despite his little hiccup earlier, technically speaking, he is your Hard Charger Award recipient. He started all the way back in dead last today, race fans, and right now he's leading it. Benny Jones has gone to pit road now, so the 20 going to surrender his position up. That means Powell and Cornpost are going to move into the second spot and third spot, respectfully. Bobby Lane Jr. about 2.5 seconds back of the other two. As Steve Harrison now having to make a decision when he'll have to go to pit road. Keeps it out, though, for the time being. He's not letting up anything here. Man, I gotta believe right now there is some absolute sweat running down the heads of both of these boys, and they've got to be gripping those steering wheels tighter than literally when you got yourself a fresh new pair of shoes. Come on, look around the backside here right now. Rusty Robinson, Frank Caruso in a bit of a dogfight. Caruso. See if maybe he can get something dialed up here and catch up to the 5 here, but right now has not been successful. He's not giving up though, and again, you can see the focus just holding that wheel down like that and keeping things under control. The throttle rhythm and everything has to be very clear cut and very focused here just to be able to hang on that kind of level here. Bud Light Mike now with company on his doorstep here. Vincent Short coming out of pit road and back into the 15th spot. I don't blame Short for going in as late as he did, because again, that could play a factor here. If the caution or something does fly out, he's got fresher tires. He's got more fuel. So that absolutely could be a difference maker here. The only problem is that when you're stuck behind there like that, now you have to literally try to run through the gaps and run through the paces and try to get ahead of everybody as quick as you can for how far you fell down. And that's where it gets really tricky. Still in control and still in that lane choice here that he wants, but at the moment, not able to get the power down to the track and see what he can do. Austin Cornpost and Lane Powell, they've been either 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 for pretty much 7/8 to at least not to maybe even 15/16 of this race. They have not given an inch, and they've never left the top 3 spots for more longer than maybe about 3 to 6 laps here. Steve Harrison, though, is slowing up tremendously. He's got about a 3-second gap that Powell and Cornpost are coming up on him. I honestly am curious, if Harrison stays out, how does that play into the lap traffic factor? Does that maybe make things a little bit harder for Powell and them in this case? Because again, we talk about it all the time here. Things can get very, very tricky when you're trying to hold down that run, trying to hold down that power. And with guys literally coming up here within like a second to 2 seconds, yeah, that right now, that's what you see. I would not want to be in your shoes ever. That's all I know. Harrison staying wide again. Driving a much different line now as Cornpost and Powell have come up to him. This is where strategy is going to be very big here. You need to be careful where lap traffic goes and where they play at. Powell knows this. He needs to stay focused here. Harrison on the bottom. Here comes Powell on the outside. There's the pass. There's your new leader. And Cornpost, oh, mama, he ain't going down for it. He went for a run, he went for some speed, but he just couldn't get it around that 11 here. Harrison finally going into pit road. He really tried to stretch that thing out, didn't he? I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing. If you can't outrace them, you outsmart them. I've done it plenty of times before. It does work quite well and quite nicely when it's done right. Gannon Collison and BJ Lane now in a bit of a who said, she said, battle off, double side by side. Let's fight him out. Keep the elbows going. And if you remember earlier, BJ Lane got a little bit knocked up there by Coulson. I'm surprised Lane, honestly, isn't trying to go up a little bit closer to him and try to ruffle some feathers. Perhaps just trying to stay away from cautions, trying to stay away from any issues here. But I don't know. If it's me, honestly, I wouldn't care. I'd be trying to give him my receipt for earlier. That's just me, though. Ooh, boy. There you go. That's one shot right there. Robertson switching back up. Crisscross there with the 0-0 and end up almost taking that whole rear corner panel off of his back bumper. Boy, you can just feel that power too that each one of these drivers is using at full steam and full send. Every one of them just laying it in thick and laying it in hard. They don't want to give the other a chance here. They want to basically just put the boot down on the snake's neck and make sure that they can't breathe or take a shot at him. But the hardest part, again, is just how much you have to steer into these corners and steer down into the track. Get a good little onboard camera here from Alan Mars. You can see again just how far things are separating out. The first fourth of this race, honestly, in my opinion, was not up to the standards that the IROC series has been well known for. But it seems like ever since then, things have really picked up and pace has been immediately ignited into a flurry of hard racing. Well, up on the backside here, the number 2 of William Martin. Again, just trying to stay out of the way, or maybe just trying to make things a little bit more interesting here. Stays clear of trouble and stays clear of any issues there. But again, not anywhere to go around here and a lot of places to not make mistakes here. So the field again, all hunting down these two drivers. And with 25 laps left to go, it's honestly anybody's race here. Dylan Anderson says, got to give it to Corpos. That man's like glue. Yeah, he just doesn't get off that back bumper, the 11. The problem is, and for him, I think the only chance he's had to pass so far in this race was literally the beginning. I think when honestly they got going on those restarts, he was looking for every way to pass, and he just couldn't get it figured out here. Let's take a look at our later pit stoppers. And again, the reason why I want to focus in on this is, again, because a lot of these drivers went in on the halfway point. Some of them stayed out for an extra 10 laps. And again, what that did is it gives more tire in the air, as more grip for rubber, allowing them to be able to do things like this right now. As you see Vincent Short, he was way back there, I believe in 17th or 16th, and now he has literally moved up into the 9th spot. And with 24 laps to go and plenty of tires in there, really this plays more into his benefit here. 3-car battle now for, looks like that top 10 brackets. This is the 11th spot up for grabs. Caruso, Robinson, and Lohmeyer not giving an inch to the other. And they're running hard right now, race fans. They are giving it. Steve Harrison right behind him. They're just trying to get his lap back or maybe have a chance here. Keep in mind, he was leading for a while too, but that really late pit stop, I think, might have done him in. I think he just doesn't know it yet, but he's still gonna fight. I love this. I love the confidence in him. He's still fighting. I like that. You got to give it to a driver that doesn't want to quit. They came out to race. They came to race. That's what I always find remarkable. Lohmeyer, he was definitely going up there and upstairs with the 5. Robinson, though, that's way wide off turn number 3 and 4. And again, you saw exactly what I was talking about a second ago. When you try to go that far up in 3 and 4, it's almost like a death trap. You just can't get the speed off there as you would in the middle or the bottom. That's why there's only 2 lanes up there to use. That outside lane is, well, how do I put it nicely? Out of order. Dragging it down, and a big fight still ensuing here. Robinson and Robertson having at it here. Battle of the Sons, if you will. And in this case, it looks like it'll be Rusty that gets the better of the 2. He's 2 spots up right now, currently trying to hang on. Whoa! Right up in the wall protection goes Jonathan Campbell. I don't know what all that was about, but that might have slowed down Austin Cornpost a little bit. Not sure exactly what exactly went down there, but well, I know. Let's take a look at the replay here and figure this one out. This replay will be presented in part by our friends at Allen T. Buick GMC. See if there was any mistakes here from Campbell. Looks like he was driving in pretty deep. And again, you can see Cornpost and Powell, they're still driving with the best of them. Oh, actually, that was Cornpost that went into the wall protection. Well, no wonder why that slowed him down. That's 18 laps down right now. And Lane Powell, again, been leading this for quite some time. Don't I got like how many laps led in here around here? Trying to check my stat sheet here, see if I got a number of laps led. Does it look like I got that in this case? Nope, looks like I don't. Man, that's one thing I need to figure out. Then I need to figure out how to see if how many laps someone's led or how many laps someone's been in the position they have been in. Focus back right now with Vincent Short here as he is still trying to hunt down that number 71, dealing with lap traffic pulling up right up on his back bumper there. Harrison making his move here. Trying to see what they can nail down to the corners and nail down through the turns. And with 15 laps remaining here as they come across the stripes this time by, it is going to be anybody's guess to who holds on to the win. Bobby Lane Jr. and Scott Cazenay right now having a little bit of a go at it still. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Bobby Joe, he's running a bit of a matte paint scheme down there. That seems familiar because I have the same scheme on mine. And I think now I got to kind of reverberate what exactly I'm talking about here. All right, so you notice how like duller and more less shiny that the 02 of Bobby Joe is? Now take a look here at Scott Cazenave and notice how much more glossier that is. Again, that's the difference. Again, a matte finish would look like almost sandpaper, but with that drier look, it makes actually the sponsors in the car pop out a bit better. Whereas when you have that more unusual wrapped up kind of scheme like what the 03's running, that is usually what you see most drivers on iRacing using. And there is another form that we call metallic or semi-metallic as well. Full-on metallic is basically like almost having a mirror on your wrap in your scheme because it reflects and shows off everything from what it can see. You'll even see if there is some of them that have that metallic numbers, even in NASCAR, it actually will pop off around the walls and around the other cars. Yeah, it's pretty sweet looking, pretty interesting, I must admit. So, I'm kind of running out of stuff and adjectives and verbs to use with Powell and Cornpost because again, they just do not leave each other alone. You would have thought this was a Talladega Daytona race. They have not got off the back bumpers of each other, and yet they're still racing as hard as they can for that race to win. That's how much this one means to them right now. They know how much this is important to their point standings and their championship hunt. And with only 12 laps left to go, time is running out. BJ Lane and Andrew Lohmeyer now battling up in the 9th spot. Lane in 10th, Lohmeyer in the 9th. Trying to get from being out of the bottom of the 9th and get back to the top of the 9th again and catch up to Vincent Short. But in my opinion, it's going to be a lot harder to get to Short because Short, running on those pressure sets, is making things much more difficult here. Stephanie Dobson says, I like the paint on both the 3 and the 2. Yeah, absolutely. Dream of Diamonds, don't say that. That's bad juju. I'm not saying what you said isn't what we want. It's saying I can't say it because as a broadcaster, I end up giving the jinx. Oh, Tina Lane, come on now. Or let's just even it out, maybe. Although I really don't blame her in this case. But as a broadcaster, I'm keeping my mouth shut on that one. I'm not saying what that comment section says. That would be bad juju. And if it happens, I don't want to be the one to take blame for it. Short making his way around Lucas Wright, now moving into the 7th spot. He just needs one more spot and he'll be right back where he qualified in. Meanwhile, as we go on board here with Lucas Wright, you can see just how much of that airflow and that travel points around the cars and points around the track, making things so much harder to really dial and hustle up when they need to. And again, you can just even hear too how hard they are trying to make things work as well as hang on to it. Those tires right now are absolutely burning, and they are probably crying out in pain just for the fact they can't steer in as fast as they want. So they have to slow them up just a bit more, especially in corners like 3 and 4 here. Tina says it'd be interesting. I'm not saying it wouldn't be interesting. I'm just saying I don't want to be the one to be responsible for accidentally causing the broadcaster curse to come up. But I will say this, I definitely would just want to see if Cornpost has anything for Powell coming to those final laps, because well, hold on a minute, hold on a minute. We've got a race, boys. Boys and girls, tune in the channel and turn up the volume. You've got yourself a battle. Powell went down to the extreme. Oh, bottom lane there on the back straightaway. Man, did he overdrive that one. I thought maybe he was going to have something coming to the end of it, but that mistake right there might have just cost Cornpost. Whoa. Take a quick look back at that lap here, race fans, because that was absolutely burning with speed coming down through the corners. Watch this one. Both drivers in a dead even battle coming down off the lanes. Look at this, Powell. He did get loose off turn number 2 there. And watch this. He shoots that thing so far down the bottom. He knows he has to block and defend it. And Cornpost, with the presence of mind, backed off, but he was still trying to keep it close. I think maybe he was thinking maybe he had to put the bumper to him. But he overdrove 3 and goes way wide in 4 and absolutely cost him possibly this race just from that move right there. Holy smokes. Well, I might have overthought it a little bit, maybe overset it because Cornpost is still only 4/10 back, but I guarantee you that's not what he wanted. 5 laps left to go. He's fighting, scratching, and clawing to get back to lane. I thought maybe Lane Powell would have had the advantage with an extra lap of tires and fuel, but Cornpost, almost with the presence of mind, using that draft all night long, just absolutely waiting for Lane to make the mistake. He did make a mistake. He got loose off turn number 1 and 2, and the next thing you know, Lane is going into defensive mode in the worst possible way you could do it. But again, as a driver, you can't blame him when you are literally trying to defend that spot. You have to get that thing dialed into the ground and defend off from all fighters and covers that want to take that lane away. Whoa, what's something going on down there with Andrew Lohmeyer? Slowing up quite a bit. I just got word he ended up going down into the grass and off track. That'll opt up for Lucas Wright to take that position away from him. It was only off track for about a second or two there, but it looks like he came out of it clean as a whistle. Well, here, we're just going to focus on our leaders here with 3 laps to go. Powell needs to get the final 2 in to get what he wants, but Cornpost, oh, mama, he's coming for him. He's right there with him. And again, I think if Cornpost doesn't make that mistake going off turn 4, I think, honestly, he wins this race. I think that mistake he made on turn 4 did more damage to him than he realizes. That was such a mistake there he made again, but he was trying so hard to keep that throttle rhythm up. When Lane blocked him and put him in that position, I think that might have been the Achilles heel that he didn't want to see, and he is still right now just hoping and praying he's got any chance here. They're coming to the white flag here right now on turn 3. Going for turn 4. This is the championship battle up for grabs. Could this be the points battle they've been looking for? We'll find out as this is the white flag presented by Spa Auto Sales. Lane is going to do everything he can to dial those turns up. Cornpost looking for one last draft to catch him and maybe give him the bumper for payback. Does he have enough time? He's too far back. He's going to need to go harder in that turn. He does not. He's going to let this one slide because on turn number 3 and coming for home on turn number 4, Lane Powell is going to win this one in Kentucky. Cornpost going to pull it into second place once again. Scott Cazenave going third this time once more. Keeping just barely ahead of Bobby Lane Jr. It looks like even old Bobby Joe's giving a little bit of love. Oh! Well, it looks like Scott Cazenave and Cornpost wanted to meet the minds down there. I think it's time to say 3 weeks in a row staying out of that basement. There's your winner, race fans. Qualified first, ends it in first. Although I'm definitely going to have a couple questions for him here in a minute, that's for certain. He might blow the motor before this one's over. Oh, he backed off. All right. All right, race fans, time to take a look now at our race results presented in part by our friends here at Heart to Heart Motorsports Streams as well as ALC Contractors. Lane Powell, what can you say? He has just been lights out. 3 in a row, could have been 4 in a row, had one thing not led to another 4 weeks ago. But nevertheless, he is on top. And I believe with this race win, I think it's going to put him in the lead for the points battle. Corn Post, I mean, what can you say about Corn Post? This man was literally dead set, focused, and ready. But when the opportunity was open for him, I think honestly he just may have overdrove it and then undersold it there at the very end. Scott Cazenay throughout, honestly, consistency, pure speed, and just never gave up. I think that's solid enough for third. Bobby Lane Jr., though, was hunting him down quite a few places. He did not have any trouble staying with him. He was consistent as well. Nice top 5 for him. And finishing out the top 5 again, Dan Collison, quite ruffling up maybe a few feathers. He flocked this one to another because he was able to hold on and keep it in the top 5. Alan Marr struggling early on. Redemption there on the last bit. Vincent Short, late race pit strategy, late race call. Did not plan out or pave the way he wanted to, but he'll take him in the 7th. Lucas Wright with a remarkable performance throughout, staying within the top 10. I don't think he ever really left the top 10 all day, so well done on his end. Landry Lohmeyer and BJ Lane just kind of mixed them both in for the final bit of our top 10. They never gave an inch, and they certainly did not leave anything on the table. All right. With all that said, I think it's about time I get to doing my part of the job. Race fans, it's now time to talk with your top 3 drivers, and the man that comes out on top of them all once more, the number 11, Lane Powell, has joined us. And Lane, well, my friend, not only are you going to get a 3rd week in a row staying out of that basement, but you had to absolutely endure some absolute trouble there from that 95. Talk me through from this one, my friend.
Man, I just tried to keep the tires in a good spot and didn't have too much trouble the first time around, but I don't know if y'all saw that cut down, but I got a little loose out of 2 after my rears got a little too hot, and I mean, we all kept it clean, but you know, shout out to Austin. He ran a good race, and he had me sweating that whole entire time, and I don't know, Kentucky's not my favorite track, so I'm happy I could finish on top.
Well, we definitely did catch what you did there, and that was actually going to bring me to my next question because, honestly, I have to ask you, when you went into turn number 1 and then got a little bit loose off turn 2 and you dived down as hard as you did, was that basically, in your mind, the Hail Mary attempt to pervade Corn Post from taking that spot away from you?
If he had a chance to pass, that was the one and only time, because that's probably the only time I got loose that whole entire race, doing the best I could to save the tires, and he couldn't get his nose to the side of me, so I just figured I'd go straight down to the line, and I didn't mean to push him so damn hard, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do, so.
You certainly did indeed, and Lane, I know obviously 3 weeks in a row is nothing to sneeze at, and with a points championship now up for grabs, I mean, I got to ask you, who are we thinking tonight for this finish?
Shout out to the friends and family watching, and shout out to Heart to Heart. You know, I hadn't called y'all out since we've been racing, but this has been a lot of fun, so I appreciate you guys, and looking forward to next week again.
Absolutely. Well, nevertheless, Lane, congratulations getting it done here tonight in Kentucky.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your race winner tonight, the number 11, Lane Powell. All right, now joining me here in the runner-up spot once again. I mean, by no means, though, could that have been anything harder to work with there, Austin. You absolutely went, dialed in, and fought and scratched and clawed, and just absolute pure insanity there in that last bit. But talk me through the first half and just what was it like trying to dial in the setup and get this pit strategy ready for it?
That setup pretty dialed in all week. I've practiced a lot trying to conserve tire, and I did that tonight. But you get up on somebody in 3 and 4 especially, and if you get a run on them, you just kind of push up the track with them. So it's really hard to pass at this track, and for pit strategy, I was just going to do it halfway. I knew we would have enough fuel that way.
Certainly did indeed here, and with that run there too, there was really, I kind of want to bring this in real quick because I just talked to Lane about this, but there was two times though that you had an opportunity to get around him and you had a chance. The first one was when you got in first and he goes in a lap later, and you're hustling down off through turn number 4. You didn't quite get that chance there off 3 and 4, and then obviously what we saw there when he went diving down low on the backstretch. Talk me through like what was going through your mind with those two and what happened on the aftermath.
Yeah, the first one, when we were racing out there, I mean, fresh tires, I was on the inside of them, and with somebody right there beside you, I was just gonna push up, and we were gonna ruin both of our race. So I had to lift in that circumstance. But the second one, yeah, he got a little loose, so I took advantage of going inside of him because I knew he wouldn't have the momentum coming off, and yeah, he came down a little bit on me. I don't know if it's because he's loose or blocking, but you know, it's racing. I would have done the same thing, I'm sure, in that moment, especially racing for the points and how tight they are. I have nothing but respect for him. He's a good racer, good clean racer. So I'm sure he'll show us something next week as well.
It's always good to see both drivers with the mutual ideas and mutual feelings of what they would have done. Nevertheless, Austin, once more, I don't know how many times you're getting tired of me asking this because you've been up here at this podium so much, but who do we thinking tonight, buddy?
Yeah, I just want to thank all the league sponsors. Anybody does anything for this league, Speed Zone, y'all do great every week, and we appreciate y'all.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, Austin, once more, congratulations to getting the podium, and we'll catch you next time on out, buddy.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the number 95, Austin Cornpost. All right. Whoop. Didn't mean to interrupt your conversation there, Scott.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right, well, let's work quick. Let's get you in here, buddy. Race fans, Scott Cazenave here in the third spot. And, Scott, I mean, honestly, you had quite a few moments, too. I know we focused a lot on that first and second spot and throughout the mid-pack, but you, my friend, still had some work to do there dealing with Bobby Lane and Bobby Joe down there. I mean, he wasn't exactly just giving you any room there towards the end, but it seemed like you kind of outsmarted him there on the last bit.
Well, he took off after that. After we pitted, I mean, not under caution, just that pit stop run. He took off pretty good, and I just kind of saved my stuff and just tried to stay close. And then eventually I caught him, and he knew I was faster, and he let me go. He just said, go ahead, you know, because he didn't want to hold me up.
Keep it up with the respect and the fair racing mentality there. I got to ask you, I mean, Scott, I mean, all around throughout tonight, you had to get through a little bit of traffic, kind of maneuver through the drivers. Do you feel like tonight the drivers were a little bit more on the patient side after the first two cautions kind of had thrown out and kind of got them a little bit more squared up, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think we had the first cautions early. I think after that, everybody kind of settled down and got in rhythm. We had a really good race. Lane was just on fire. He dominated the race. It was just a good win for him. But for me, another top three. Pretty consistent on that, so I'll take it.
For sure there. Well, Scott, once more, you talking with me here in the podium. I will ask you as usual, who we thinking?
I just want to thank Alan Tillery, you know, all of our sponsors, you know, ALC, Heart to Heart guys. Love racing with you. Alan Tillery Chevrolet, Spa Auto, Cannon Resort, Rusty. We appreciate all the sponsors, and thank you for streaming it. And Race Control, she always does a great job, man. You guys are awesome.
Really appreciate the compliments here, Scott, and we appreciate you coming on by to race with us tonight. Great job once more, and congratulations taking on home for a top three today.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Race fans, one more time for the 03, Scott Cazenave. All right, that's about all I got for you guys. Once more, you've been awesome. You've been a pleasure to call for. 3 more races, I believe, left on the docket. Points couldn't be any tighter, and that championship is looking more and more like 2 drivers are going to go to war with one another. So, with that said, take care of yourselves. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Be safe and take care of yourselves out there. Happy 250 years of freedom here from America's side. And from all of us at Speed Zone TV, thank you so much. Oh, yeah, and also I got some Canadian brothers and sisters over there. Happy Canada Day when July 1st rolls around. Also, thank you again, everyone, and once more. Until then, race fans, take care of yourself. I'm out of here. See you later.